Welcome everybody. Caleb and I finally saw Avengers Endgame. We couldn't go over the weekend because we had to go camping, then we had baseball games and work and school, and we finally got to see it on Tuesday. And here are our thoughts. What'd you think?
It was good. Also, spoiler alert.
We're going to talk spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, what you waiting for? Go watch the movie. I'm sure you've seen it because everyone in the world has seen it. We will be talking spoilers. I loved the movie. Loved it. What was your favorite part?
Probably the end. Where they all fighting.
The big battle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always good.
That was everybody. Everybody
we
was
saw
there.
Most of the Marvel universe all come together, which was very exciting. And the only nitpicks I have on the movie was how Ant-Man returned from the quantum realm, basically by a rat. They kind of scampered across the keyboard, and poof, that was a little silly. It's a little slow the first hour. Is there anything you didn't like about it?
I don't like how Black Widow died.
Yeah.
I don't think she deserved to die.
Black Widow dying was very shocking to me because there's a Black Widow movie coming out next year, which we now assume is a prequel. But I was surprised to see her sacrifice herself for the Soul Stone. That was pretty sad. One of the saddest parts of the movie. My favorite part is when they were jumping through time.
Yeah.
None of this movie made any sense at all. You just have to just go with it. I love to see the returning characters the ancient one from Doctor Strange, Loki. We got to see Thor's mother and girlfriend, Jane. Natalie Portman returning? What the heck was that?
Which was the first time for me.
Yeah, Caleb hasn't seen the Thor movies, so that was his first look at...
That's why when I saw Avengers, I was like, who's that? Who's that?
Yeah, a lot of characters that we haven't seen in a while. We were super excited to see Korg and Meek and Valkyrie playing Fortnite. They did not die on the ship from Thanos. Thank God, they're back. You know who we haven't seen? And Caleb, you might not even know who this is. You probably don't. Lady Sif, who was one of Thor's buddies in the first two movies. It was Thor, Lady Sif, and the Warriors 3. Hela took out the Warriors 3 in the final movie in about 3 seconds. But the Lady Sif was nowhere to be found. She wasn't in this movie. Where is she? Did I miss something? Where is she at? So, she's still unknown. What else do we like about this movie? Every part. I liked when Captain America fought Captain America.
Also, Stan Lee's in the car, if you guys did not know.
The Stan Lee cameo, yep. I wish it had been a little better, but since I believe that was his last one, I don't think he's in anymore. But it was great. I like when Tony Stark went back in time to the 70s and got to talk to his dad. It was the same actor that from Iron Man 2 played his dad. I like that. Captain America saw Peggy Carter.
Captain America actually fought himself.
Yep, that was cool. I did like that Loki escaped. The past Loki escaped with the Tesseract, so that Loki, I guess, is still out and about in another time frame somewhere. Who knows?
So Loki was never captured.
They dug up Robert Redford to come back for this movie. I thought he was done with film, but this could be the last The last time we see him on screen.
Robert?
He was the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Winter Soldier. He's a very famous actor. He was the one that's give me the briefcase.
Oh, yeah.
He looked really, really old in this movie. But he was he's a bad guy. He's with Hydra. We find out later. And then when Captain America went in the elevator, they kind of recreated that scene from Winter Soldier where they had Crossbones and then that bald, creepy-looking guy and all the S.H.I.E.L.D. people who were really Hydra. And Captain America was like, "Hail Hydra," and he just walked out with the briefcase, which I thought was hilarious. I love scenes like that. Some things that I don't think made any sense, well, which was most of the movie made no sense, but we still loved it. Spider-Man was dusted. It's now 5 years later.
Still the same age.
So he's obviously still the same age, and so is Ned that we see in the movie, but are we to assume his entire school is also the same age, or is half the school 5 years older? Because so how is that going to work? Is all his group of core friends still the same age, or is some of them like 23 now, or whatever, however old they are? So that's a little bizarre. I don't know if they're going to address that or not in the Spider-Man movie.
I mean, the important thing is that they're alive.
I guess they're probably just going to just forget that part and just go with it. What I also didn't understand in the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, you see Nick Fury sitting there, I guess in a hotel room, and he's like, "So nice to meet you, Spider-Man." Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, Nick Fury and Spider-Man were at the funeral of Tony Stark, so they had to meet before, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was just in the trailer and it's not in the movie.
Maybe. Well, maybe they didn't actually talk to each other. Maybe they just see each other.
I guess they really did Nick Fury wrong in this movie. Like, why is he in it for 3 seconds at the end? What's that about? Nick Fury is the one that started the whole Avengers. Why does he not play a more pivotal role? I also wasn't crazy about they gave the Guardians almost no roles. Like, you barely saw Drax, Star-Lord, Groot, Mantis.
No, Rocket Raccoon
Rocket and
Nebula.
Nebula they were top billed stars of this movie, because Nebula was pretty much the star of the movie, I think. Nebula's role was very pivotal throughout the entire movie. But Groot said, "I am Groot," I think once. You barely saw him. Barely saw, Drax and Mantis. They just briefly appeared a few times. What I also think they missed on, I just thought of this. Star-Lord, Peter Quill, has not been to Earth, which I also think they call Terran, something like that. He has not been to Earth since he was abducted when he was a little kid when his mom died. It's his first trip back to Earth since then, and they didn't really mention that. He's like, "Oh, this is Earth," So I don't know. I know they didn't have time. The movie was already 3 hours long. They didn't have time to address that. So that was just one of those little nitpicky things. So what'd you think about the end with Iron Man?
I'm still surprised how he got the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I'm a little confused because Thanos had his gauntlet made from the dwarf elf, or whatever his name was from Game of Thrones, the little guy that's huge. And they had to build it from the fire of whatever. But Iron Man constructed his in a day to hold the stones. But another one, we're just going to go with it. When he snapped, obviously that killed him. So I kind of think we were all suspecting Iron Man to die.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it was sad. Hopefully they can
still
incorporate him into the movies going forward somehow, if it's a flashback or a picture or some kind of whatever. Hopefully they can at least a Stan Lee cameo kind of thing.
I mean, and Tony Stark has a daughter. That sucks.
Yeah, so that was kind of sad. I do like how they ended Captain America's story. He was supposed to go back and put the time stones back. The Infinity Stones back where they all were, which I don't understand how he did that at all. How did he get the Soul Stone back in there? Did he just throw it over the ledge? And did he have to fight Red Skull again? Because they had some beef in the first one, but we don't see any of that. I don't know how he got all those stones back, but he ended up staying back in the past so he could have his dance with Agent Carter, and they got married and lived a full life, and now he's 90 or 100. So I thought that was nice that they didn't kill him off. They just made him live his life. They could technically do more Captain America movies with him, in the 50s and 60s, if they wanted to. I don't think they're going to, because it looks like they are passed the baton to Falcon. So
Falcon's new Captain America.
I guess he's the new Captain America.
I actually saw that coming a long time ago for Falcon being Captain America.
I thought it was going to be Bucky, but he's basically murdered so many people throughout the years. It wasn't his fault. He was under control of the Soviet Union or somewhere. I forgot.
Oh wait, didn't Bucky kill Iron Man's dad?
He killed the parents and he killed multiple people. But he was under the spell of that. They had to read that code off, all those words, and it made him go crazy. They've never readdressed that again, too. I guess no one remembers those words. Anything else that didn't quite add up? I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, none of the movie made any sense at all, but it doesn't matter. You know, Tony figured out how to time travel in like an hour. Another one, we're just going to go with it. I wonder if Pepper is going to remain in the MCU as like an Iron Man, because she wore the Iron Man suit in the final battle. Pepper.
That kind of looked like that suit. You probably won't know who this is. It's in Fortnite. She kind of looked like the girl of Car But Mine.
Yeah.
The Fortnite skin in season 4.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know that.
I have no idea what Fortnite is, hardly. But where do we go from here? I know we're going to get a Black Widow movie next year. We're supposed to get an Eternals movie. I don't know what that is, but they did kind of mention Eternals in the movie. I heard him say it. We're supposed to get a Doctor Strange 2, a Black Panther 2. I'm sure we'll get another... Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I hope Thor's in it.
Wait a minute, wait. Something that I'm really confused about...
Chasing after the new past Gamora.
I know, but something I'm really confused about is that... Remember at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Vol 2? It was like one of the end credits, and she's like...
Adam?
Yeah, it's like we created Martha or something.
Well, they created the gold people?
Yeah. And they created like Martha or something.
It's supposed to be Adam Warlock, and he's supposed to be in the next... I don't read comics, but I know he's a big thing in comics. Warlock. So I'm sure we'll see him. I'm sure we'll see what's going on with the new Gamora, because it's not new. It's the past Gamora that's now in the future, because the other Gamora is dead. So she doesn't remember any of this.
Maybe if Captain America put the Soul Stone back, would that mean Black Widow is alive?
They said what's done is done. So I think Black Widow's gone forever. We don't know the status of Vision. Can they rebuild him with the Mind Stone? Where is the Mind Stone? It was in Loki's staff. I don't know where that is. But I would think they can repair Vision, because there's supposed to be a Vision and Scarlet Witch TV show coming. It's also supposed to be a Loki TV show coming. I think even a Winter Soldier and Falcon show. So...
What's up with Thor?
Yeah. And
he's drunk.
Fat Thor, hilarious. Loved it.
He had the sunglasses.
I think it's funny that they kept the Fat Thor thing going throughout the movie. He never became like buff Thor. It was always Fat Thor all movie.
Is he actually that fat in real life?
No, that was just a fake stomach. But I assume he'll be in maybe the next Guardians. Be kind of fun, even if he's just in there for a little bit. You didn't see much of Captain Marvel in this movie, but what we did see was nice. I kind of liked it that Thanos kind of punched her out with the Power Stone. He put it in his hand and just punched her out. It wasn't just like invincible, because she's basically the most powerful thing in the world.
Thor was close to being the most powerful until Captain America went on. I guess Thor got jealous, so he just became fat.
We're going to have to watch this movie a couple more times to catch all the references to all the other movies, all the jokes.
I like how Spider-Man was actually got like a couple, like 30 minutes of a role.
Yeah.
He actually got some of the roles.
Yeah. And I thought it was funny that that the Wasp called Captain America Cap, because she made fun of Ant-Man for saying Cap in the last Ant-Man movie. I don't think anyone really picked up on that, but I know they threw that in there as a joke, and I laughed.
Oh yeah, remember he's like, we gotta get the Cap or something. Yeah. He's like, Cap. It's like, well, it's a nickname we call it. It's like Captain America.
But yeah, I thought Ant-Man was really good in this movie. I loved how they had like every person almost that they could bring back, like Michael Douglas. They even showed a flashback of him. He was the Hank Pym, Wasp's dad.
Yeah.
And, you know, Renee Russo, who looked bizarre. They got Natalie Portman. Renee Russo was Thor's mom. Natalie Portman, who was Queen Amidala, also Thor's girlfriend. You know, Valkyrie, Korg, Meek, Robert Redford, the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., Crossbones. Who am I missing? Red Skull, the Ancient One. All these characters that you never thought you'd see again. The only thing, I wish they would have had Quicksilver. I wish they would have had Hela. We don't know if she's dead.
I actually am glad she did.
So, I'm sure we'll be moving on. There'll be another 22 more movies and more coming in the future. So, overall, I really loved the movie. The last the time travel part and the battle scene were amazing. I love the way they wrapped up most of the storylines. We didn't even talk about the Hulk. He was funny throughout the whole movie.
But yeah, I forgot.
That's all I really have to say. What do you? Any final thoughts?
No, I like the movie.
We love the movie. If you haven't seen it, you're stupid because we just gave away half the movie. So go see it now.
This is like.
If you have seen it and you want to weigh in, put it in the comments. We'll see you next time. May the adventure continue.
Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. That was a 15-minute.
15 minutes. Wow, we dragged on for a while.